China uses technology and technological devices to remain globalized in a vast and growing world. These devices are being incorporated in citizens' lives and into the government. However, technology wasn't always such a big influence in China. Most of their development occurred through Mao Zedong's idea of the Cultural Revolution. The Cultural Revolution served as a method to rid the four olds: old culture, old habits, old customs, and old ideas. This brought technological and industrialized techniques to improve the country and benefit the citizens.
However, many negative effects did occur. The poor were left to become more in debt, and the government became more strict. The youth caused several problems through the four olds, and important artifacts and religious items were destroyed. Some economic distress shortly followed, but the Chinese were able to quickly recover with the immersion of new technology into their world.
The Chinese government made numerous drastic changes and improvements, which led to the country's great success. The country's development and modernization was very unprecedented and unexpected, but it helped the country tremendously. During the end of the 20th century, China began growing and industrializing at a rapid pace. Multiple reforms and transformations contributed to the growth. The country was able to develop substantially and now has one of the largest economies in the world. This is thanks to the People's Republic of China's government, as well as the leaders that were in charge of it. During the 1970s, the government began transforming employment, education, and many other dimensions of life in China. This helped improve China's economy and development. With all of the development occurring in China, the country was able to increase their global trade percent, which would impact the country's economy and global standing greatly. China began rapidly industrializing along with many other countries throughout the world. With the economic improvements, China was able to employ the people living in poverty, reducing the overall poverty. In fact, the country was able to employ over 200 million people. Another factor that helped the country industrialize and improve was the advancement of globalization, overseas markets, and other global events. The People's Republic of China also gave China's citizens freedom, which ultimately allowed the culture in China to prosper. With the country's new approach to industrializing and improving, China had the most success in the 20th century. They attempted to create steel from their backyard, which resulted in extreme failure, however. It allowed China to become more modernized with the adaptation to a growing world. However, the empowerment of the youth led to several destroyed artifacts and buildings, and tension between the citizens. Anyone representing the four olds were subjected to public humiliation or cruel punishments. Most importantly, the Cultural Revolution served as a beginning to improving the nation. China rose with the steady increase of reforms. The reforms issued more technological growth and structure for the citizens. This allowed Chinese citizens to become more of a republic that was interested in self-made success.
Heavy industrial progress. For example, the Chinese government supported the growth of many large corporations, which led to industrial growth. The growth in industry expanded the Chinese economy, leading to increased global competition. By competing globally, China has invited more competition, and competition leads to growth. This in turn has led to innovation in Chinese technology. Clearly, China has had great success in the development of its technology due to economic competition. While China has had success in the rebuilding and development of its technology, it has had little success in rebuilding its culture. This is caused by the government moving against reform and external influences. Due to the censorship of external media outlets, the information received by the public is limited. Furthermore, the Chinese government has fought against reforms that have aimed to create a more open government and economy. These factors have all limited the growth in China. It is clear that due to Chinese government's stance on reform, little progress has been made towards the development of culture. The utilization of technology has impacted the social, economical, and political aspects in China.
The development of new technological systems and features such as the internet and social media has allowed for the world to become more globally connected. In China, the use of technology in order to stay globalized has been less prevalent. This is due to the Chinese government's censorship of the internet and social media outlets, which limits the nation's ability to adapt to globalization. For example, the Chinese government has blocked simple sites such as Google, Facebook, Flickr, and Gmail, to name a few. This makes it extremely difficult for Chinese people to receive external information. Due to this, many citizens are led to make use of virtual private networks in order to bypass censorship. Furthermore, this censorship also makes business and business transactions much more difficult to perform through the internet. This negatively impacts China's ability to adapt to globalization, as its businesses with other nations is limited. Clearly, while the growth in technology has allowed for a more globalized world, China's ability to globalize is still limited by the government's censorship.
During the late 20th century, the government in China decided to modernize and would do so by introducing foreign technology for the rest of the country and its different aspects. The country soon began to restore factories and other technologies and hoped that it would positively impact the rest of the country. Following that, the country came up for a plan that would accommodate for industrializing the entire country. The plan would allow for more modernized technology to be used in China. Although the country was succeeding in various aspects of its industrialization, such as computers and weaponry, but the country still needed to improve on other aspects to improve the country as a whole. Without growth, China was falling behind in comparison to other countries that were working on modernizing. A solution to this problem was restrictions the government used on citizens. Once the restrictions were put in place on the internet, the government saw improvements on the industry and work ethic of their entire country. By adding restrictions, the country was able to focus more on improving the economy and other industrial aspects. China's own technology companies are challenging market leaders and setting trends in telecommunications, mobile devices, and online services.
Although the lack of social media and specific websites has helped the country improve as a whole, it violates the rights of Chinese citizens. It ignores their rights of speech, freedom, and independence. The government was able to get away with this because they were able to take down blogs or anything that may impact the rest of the country negatively. YouTube, Facebook, and then many other personal sharing sites are blocked because it is claimed that the content posted violates rules and regulations set in China. As a result of this, extraordinary growth is occurring in China recently. It has taken Japan's original position of being second largest economy in the world, and with this growth rate, will continue to prosper.
Although change is beginning to arise, China will not completely rid their structural technological rules. These technological restrictions strain relationships between the government and the citizens. Most of China feels as if their basic rights and abilities are being taken away from them. To specify, collegiate-level students are unable to access websites needed, and private small business owners cannot attain information needed to run their stores. Despite the retaliation, China still struggles with understanding how influential technology is in a global society. If this is not changed in the long run, China will suffer.
To conclude, technological influence within the nation helps China remain globalized in the current world. China has used technology through industrialization to successfully rebuild their economy. However, the government struggles with understanding that citizens wish to use technology for entertainment. China, unlike Western countries such as the United States, limits their citizens' access to websites. Many people find it unfair that they are unable to reach social media and other technology-related items, which leads for problems within the government. Chinese citizens are forced to use unblockers, VPNs, and internet proxies. If the People's Republic of China is unable to fix their current issues regarding the technological influence within their nation, the hostility between the citizens and the government will continue to intensify.